My name is Brianna Whitfield. I'm 28 years old. The day my older sister destroyed my life, she didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't even confront me. She just prepared. And by the time I realized what she was doing, there was nothing left to save. I grew up believing something that turned out to be a lie. Not a dramatic lie, not the kind people write books about. A quiet one. The kind that settles into your bones so deeply you stop questioning it. In our family, there were two types of problems. The kind that mattered and the kind that didn't. Mine mattered. Chloe's didn't. My parents, Vivian and Robert, were good people. That's what everyone said. Nice house, 2 cars, Christmas cards with matching sweaters, and forced smiles that looked real enough to pass inspection. From the outside, we were perfect. Inside, we ran on a single rule. Fix Brianna. Every mistake I made became a family emergency. Expelled from school? They fixed it. DUI at 19? Lawyer. Paid. Credit card debt I couldn't even explain? Gone. 4 months behind on rent? Handled. There was always a checkbook, always a conversation about family, always a soft landing waiting for me, no matter how hard I fell. And every time they saved me, they taught me the same thing. Brianna doesn't face consequences. Chloe watched all of it. From the other side of the table, quiet, still, invisible. She was everything I wasn't. Dean's List, varsity tennis, student government. She never missed curfew. Never raised her voice, never gave my parents a reason to leave dinner early or answer a call from a principal. By 14, she was doing her own laundry, cooking her own meals, driving herself to practice. Because my parents were always busy with me. Court dates, therapy sessions, sessions, school meetings. Crisis after crisis after crisis. I was the fire. Chloe was the house that never burned. And fires get attention. Standing houses don't. I used to think that meant I was more important. It took me 28 years to understand. It just meant I was louder. Chloe got married at 27. Her husband's name was Daniel Carter. He was 30, corporate attorney, sharp, controlled, the kind of man who didn't waste words or movements. They made sense together. 2 people who planned, measured, built. They bought a house 18 months later. 3 bedrooms, quiet neighborhood, everything deliberate. Chloe designed the renovations herself. Open floor plan, built-in shelves, clean lines, nothing unnecessary. That house felt like them. Stable, intentional, untouchable. Their daughter, Ivy, was born when Chloe was 29. My parents' first grandchild. My mother lost her mind. In a good way. Baby clothes, weekly visits, FaceTime calls, Facebook posts with captions like, "My whole heart." Ivy became the center of everything. Even I could see that. And somehow, that house started pulling me in. It began with small things. Can you stop by and help with Ivy? Can you water the plants while we're out? Can you grab something from the store? Except, Chloe didn't need help. She was perfectly capable of handling everything on her own. I knew that. She knew that. But I kept showing up anyway. Finding reasons. Creating them when they didn't exist. Because being in that house felt different. Daniel talked to me like I was a person. Not a problem. Not a bill waiting to be paid. He asked me questions no one in my family ever asked. What do you actually want to do? What are you interested in? What would you build if you had the chance? No one had ever asked me that before. Not once. My parents asked what I needed. What I broke. What went wrong this time. Daniel asked what I wanted. And I made a mistake. A quiet one at first. The kind that doesn't feel like a mistake when it begins. I mistook attention for understanding. I mistook kindness for something deeper. It happened on a Wednesday, late afternoon. Chloe was still at work. Ivy was asleep upstairs. The house was quiet in that heavy, comfortable way that makes you forget what you're doing there. We were sitting on the couch, talking, or pretending to. I don't remember what I said. I only remember the moment everything shifted. A pause, a look that lasted half a second too long. And then I moved closer. There are moments in life where everything slows down, where you can feel the weight of what you're about to do, where there's still time to stop. I had that moment. I knew exactly what this was. My sister's husband, my sister's house, her child upstairs. A line so clear it might as well have been written in fire. I should have stood up, should have laughed it off, should have walked out the door and never come back. I didn't, because I had never needed to stop myself before. There was always someone else who handled the consequences. Always someone who caught me before I hit the ground. So the part of me that says don't never developed. And Daniel didn't stop me either. That was all it took. One moment, one decision, one line crossed quietly, without resistance. That was the beginning. Not of a mistake, of a pattern. And the worst part? I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel guilt. Not then. Because in my world, nothing I did ever really mattered in the end. I just didn't know yet that this time, no one was going to save me. The affair didn't feel like an explosion. It felt like routine. That's the part that still makes me sick when I think about it. Not the first time. Not even the worst time. The normality of it. It became a schedule. Wednesday afternoons, sometimes Fridays. Chloe at work. Ivy either napping or watching cartoons upstairs. Daniel and I downstairs, moving through the same spaces like we belonged there. Like we had a right to be there. I stopped thinking of it as something wrong. That's how far gone I was. It wasn't betrayal. It wasn't destruction. It was just something that happened. Something I deserved. I'd walk through the front door without knocking. Sometimes Daniel would already be there. Sometimes he'd open the door before I even reached for the handle, like he knew the exact second I'd arrive. We didn't talk about it. Not really. No plans, no future, no definitions. Just repetition. There were 14 times. I know that now. 14 separate entries into that house during work hours. 14 moments that would later be documented down to the minute. But back then, they blurred together. The couch, the hallway, the bedroom, the same path over and over again. Like muscle memory. 6 of those times, Ivy was home. That detail didn't register back then. Not fully. She was just there, a quiet presence upstairs. A cartoon playing softly through a half-closed door. A reminder I learned how to ignore. That's the thing about entitlement. It doesn't announce itself. It just quietly removes obstacles. Makes the unacceptable feel manageable. And I had spent 28 years learning that nothing I did would come back to me. So why would this be any different? Chloe found out on a Monday. Not because I confessed. Not because Daniel slipped. Not because someone saw us. Because of a camera. 2 years earlier, after a break-in down the street, Chloe had installed a full smart home system. Mostly exterior cameras, security, precaution, control. But there was one inside. In the living room, positioned toward the front door. Meant to track entries, deliveries, movement. Nothing invasive. Nothing dramatic. Just always on. Chloe never checked it. She didn't need to. The footage was automatically stored in the cloud. Archived. 90-day retention. Quiet, passive, forgettable. Until it wasn't. Her firm was working on a case involving surveillance footage. A colleague asked about her system, so she logged in, pulled up the interface, started scrolling. Routine. That's all it was supposed to be. And then she saw me. 2:15 p.m. Wednesday, walking through her front door. She paused. Not because she understood. Not yet. Just because something about it didn't make sense. Then she kept watching. Daniel appeared. The way he greeted me. Too familiar. Too comfortable. The couch. Partially visible from the camera angle. Just enough. She didn't need to see everything. She saw enough. Most people would have stopped there. Closed the laptop. Called. Screamed. Driven home. Beth. Chloe kept scrolling. Different day. Same time. Same pattern. Me walking in. Daniel meeting me. The same movements. The same direction toward the hallway. Again. And again. And again. That's 14 entries. Each one time-stamped. Archived. Undeniable. Her colleague later said something that stayed with me. She said Chloe's face didn't change. Not once. No anger. No shock. No grief. Just focus. He thought she was reviewing case evidence. He didn't realize she was building one. She downloaded every clip, organized them, labeled them chronologically, created a folder on her firm's secure server, named it one word, evidence. Then she closed her laptop, finished her workday, billed 3 more hours, and started making calls. Not to me, not to Daniel, not to our parents, to lawyers, to financial advisors, to her accountant. The calls of someone who wasn't reacting, but restructuring. That's the difference between us. I reacted. I chased feelings. I followed impulses. Chloe built systems. She didn't need to yell. She didn't need to confront. Because by the time she moved, everything was already in place. 5 days. That's how long she stayed silent. 5 days of normal messages. How's your day? Did Ivy eat? I'll be late tonight. 5 days of pretending nothing had changed, while she dismantled everything underneath us. I kept going over there. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? Nothing had happened. Nothing ever happened. That was the illusion I lived in. That consequences required noise, required confrontation, required someone to say the words out loud. Chloe didn't say anything. She prepared. And by the time I realized something was wrong, the move had already been made. The letters arrived on a Friday. Not from Chloe, from her law firm. And that's when everything stopped feeling routine. Because routine doesn't come with legal letterhead. Routine doesn't list timestamps. Routine doesn't turn your life into a case file. Routine doesn't end with your name, typed neatly under the word co-respondent. That was the moment I understood. This wasn't something we could talk through. This wasn't something my parents could fix. This wasn't a mistake that could be softened with apologies and checks and quiet conversations behind closed doors. This was something else. Something final. And for the first time in my life, I felt it. Not guilt, not shame, fear. Because somewhere, in a folder I had never seen, my entire downfall had already been organized. 14 entries, 14 timestamps, 14 moments that proved exactly who I was. And Chloe had been preparing for this moment her entire life. I just didn't know it until it was too late. The divorce wasn't messy. It was surgical. That's the word people kept using. Not dramatic, not emotional. Precise. Chloe didn't just file. She presented. 14 entries, each one cataloged. Date, time, duration. Cross-referenced with her own billing records, proof she was at work every single time I entered her house. Cross-referenced with Ivy's schedule. 6 of those 14 visits, Ivy was home. That detail changed everything. Her lawyer didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. He just laid it out. Calm, structured, clean. The judge didn't like that. The judge didn't like that. Not even a little. Daniel's attorney tried to argue consent. Tried to question how the footage was obtained. Chloe's attorney shut it down in under 2 minutes. The cameras were jointly installed. The footage legally stored. The account shared. Admissible. Everything about it was admissible. That's the thing about Chloe. She doesn't leave gaps. She got the house. Her name was primary on the mortgage. Her income covered most of it, and the affair had taken place inside it. She got primary custody of Ivy. Daniel got supervised visitation. Every other Saturday. 4 hours. In a room with a social worker watching. I saw him in the hallway after the ruling. He didn't yell. Didn't accuse me. Didn't even say my name. He just looked at me. And in that look, there was something worse than anger. Recognition. Like he finally saw me clearly, for exactly what I was. And he didn't need to say anything, because he was right. I started it. I walked into that house. I crossed the line first. And now, he saw his daughter in a monitored room twice a month because of it. He turned and walked away. And just like that, he was gone. I lost nothing. Not yet. Because I had nothing to lose. That's the most dangerous position a person can be in. When you have nothing, you don't hesitate. You don't calculate. You just take. But Chloe had everything, and she knew exactly how to protect it. The money came next. This is the part no one saw coming. Not me, not my mother, not even my father. Because there was something happening underneath our family for years that I never noticed. Chloe had been lending my parents money, quietly, consistently. First loan, $35,000. 5 years ago, roof repairs. Second loan, $50,000. 3 years ago, my father's business. Third loan, $28,000. 18 months ago, my mother's surgery. All formal, all documented. Promissory notes, interest rates, repayment schedules. Notarized. $113,000. Money Chloe gave to my parents, while my parents gave their money to me. It moved in a circle. Chloe funded them. They funded me. And I never asked where it came from, because I never had to. 5 days after she discovered everything, Chloe called in all 3 notes. Simultaneously. 60 days to repay. My parents didn't have it. Of course they didn't. Their savings were gone, scattered across years of my mistakes. Lawyers, debts, emergencies. All of it, gone. My father tried to call Chloe. He didn't reach her. He reached her lawyer. I'm not negotiating with a lawyer, my father said. He's my daughter. There was a pause. Then the lawyer said calmly, Mr. Whitfield, your daughter has instructed all communication to proceed through legal counsel. My father hung up, sat at the kitchen table, looked at my mother, and said the one sentence I had never heard him say before. We're in trouble. They were in trouble because of me. Every dollar they didn't have was a dollar they had spent saving me. Every empty account was something I had drained. And now the one person who had actually given them money wanted it back. The math didn't work. It never does. Not when one child takes everything and the other builds everything. Chloe didn't foreclose. She negotiated because she wasn't cruel. She was strategic. She offered to erase the debt, all of it, in exchange for the cabin. Our cabin. 3 bedrooms, lake access, bought 25 years ago. Every summer of my childhood lived inside those walls. Fishing with my father, swimming lessons with Chloe, blueberry pancakes on Sunday mornings. The one place that felt like family. My parents signed the deed over in less than a week. Because the alternative was a judgment they couldn't survive. Chloe took the cabin and sold it within a month. No warning, no conversation. We found out when my father drove up there one weekend and saw a different car in the driveway, a different name on the mailbox. He sat in his car for 20 minutes, then drove home. He didn't say anything when he walked through the door, but something in him was gone. My parents moved 3 months later. They said it was practical, downsizing. It wasn't. You don't leave a 4-bedroom house for a 2-bedroom condo because it makes sense. You do it because every room feels like evidence, and they couldn't live inside evidence anymore. Ivy turned 3 that month. My mother marked it on a calendar. She marks everything. First steps, first words, birthdays.
Right.
Even though she wasn't there. Because stopping would mean accepting she never will be again. Chloe allowed 1 visit. 1. A supervised lunch. 1 hour.
Edge.
Ivy sat in a high chair, eating chicken nuggets. She looked at my mother, reached for her face, and said, Gamma. My mother broke, right there at the table,
Right.
crying, holding her hand. Ivy didn't understand.
Right.
Chloe sat at the end of the table, watching. Not cold, not cruel, just evaluating. At the end of the hour, she stood, picked up her daughter, and said, I'll think about more visits. Then she left. There were no more visits, because Chloe had already made her decision. And for the first time in my life, no one was stepping in to fix what I had broken. Everything was unraveling. And I was finally starting to understand what consequences actually looked like. The fallout didn't arrive all at once. It came in pieces, quiet, systematic, unavoidable. The first thing I lost was everyone else. Not in a dramatic way. No shouting, no confrontations. Just distance. My friend Marcus called me 2 weeks after the filing went public. Tell me it's not true, he said. Tell me you didn't sleep with Chloe's husband. There was a pause. I could have lied. Probably should have. I can't tell you that, I said. Another pause. Longer this time. And in her house, he asked, with Ivy there? I closed my eyes. Marcus, don't, he cut me off. Don't say my name like that. The line went dead. 3 more calls after that. Different people. Same conversation. Same ending. One by one, they all made the same decision. Not about the affair. Not really. About Chloe. Because everyone knew her. She was the person who showed up early, stayed late, helped without being asked. The one who brought extra food to gatherings, who remembered birthdays, who gave advice without making you feel small. And I was the person who destroyed her life. There's no version of that story where I come out looking like anything but exactly what I was. So people chose. And they didn't choose me.
Chance.
I tried to reach Chloe once. Drove to her office. Walked into the lobby like I still belonged there. Her assistant stopped me before I got to the elevators. I'm here to see Chloe, I said. She didn't ask my name. She already knew it. I know who you are, she said. Her voice wasn't rude. It was worse. Professional. Detached. She's not available.
Pep.
I'm her sister. Another pause. I know, she said again. Not you're her sister. Just, I know. Like that fact didn't matter anymore. Like it had already been removed from whatever system Chloe was operating in now. I just need 5 minutes. I'm sorry, she said. She's not available. That was it. No escalation. No argument. Just access denied.
Mom,
I stood there for a few seconds longer than I should have. Then I turned around and walked out. That was the last time I tried. I wrote her a letter. 5 pages. Handwritten. Not because I thought it would fix anything, but because I didn't know what else to do. I told her everything. That I knew what I did. That I understood what it cost. That I wasn't asking for forgiveness. Just acknowledgement. Just something. A week later, it came back. Unopened. With a note.
damn.
Ms. Whitfield does not wish to receive personal correspondence from the sender. Please direct all communication through legal counsel. She returned my apology without even reading it. Didn't want my words. Didn't want my handwriting. Didn't want anything that came from me, taking up space in her life. My parents started therapy. Couples therapy. To deal with everything. The loss of Chloe. The loss of Ivy. The cabin. The money. The realization that the version of our family they believed in never actually existed. I went once. Sat in the corner while my mother cried. I just want my family back, she said. The therapist didn't respond right away. Then she asked one question. Which family? My mother blinked. The one where you spent 28 years rescuing Brianna at Chloe's expense? The therapist continued. Or the one Chloe has now? Silence. Because those weren't the same thing. And they never had been. My father stared at the wall, didn't say a word. He's been doing that a lot lately. The stare of someone doing math in his head and realizing it will never add up. I'm 28 years old. I live in a 2-bedroom condo, in a room that isn't mine. I don't have a job. I don't have savings. I don't have anyone left who will pick up the phone when I call. Everything I have was given to me by 2 people who are now paying the price for it. Chloe is 32. She has the house, the career, her daughter. A life so clean that if you looked at it from the outside, you'd never know what it cost to build it. But I know. It cost her 32 years of being invisible. And the moment she decided to stop being invisible, she took everything back. Not out of anger.
Bitch.
Out of precision. The security footage still exists. 14 entries. 14 timestamps.
Wow.
Stored somewhere on a server. Untouched. Unnecessary now. She doesn't need it anymore. It already did its job.
Yeah.
And I don't need to watch it either. Because I see it every night. The front door. The couch. The hallway. Ivy upstairs. 20 feet away. 2:15 p.m. Wednesday. Over and over again.
Oh.
That's my consequence. The one nobody can fix. The one nobody can pay away. The one nobody can stand in front of and stop from landing. For 28 years, my parents caught me every time I fell. Then I finally hit something they couldn't protect me from. And the person they should have been protecting all along protected herself.